Okay, me right here. That's good. Okay. All right, Class A. Good news about this sheet, okay, and this unit in general, is that the whole focus is on AR preterite tense verbs, okay? So the only irregular that we're actually seeing on this paper is what? VO, okay? And you already learned that. Bueno, so you actually don't have any new irregulars to learn. Everything that you're going to be seeing is AR preterite tense verbs, okay? Because that's really the major focus of the unit. So that being said, I really, as we go through this and the rest of the unit, start to commit that AR chart to memory, okay? The more you use it right out of the gate, the easier it will be when the grammar quiz comes, right? So for now, is it a bad thing to use the backboard? No, not at all. But there has to kind of come a point too, within the next week where you start to try to think of the ending first before you check the backboard, right? Think of it, then check yourself before you just go automatically to the backboard. So kind of keep those things in mind. Bueno? Okay, so 2A, the first one is he or she approached. Repiten, se acercó.
Se acercó.
Bueno, so class A, tell me, is this going to be an AR or an ER-IR verb? AR, how do we know? Right, because it ends in O. That tells us, hey, this is an AR verb. So turn to your partner and just tell them what is going to be to approach. What is it, class A? Acercarse. Bueno, acercarse. Acercarse. So remember when we're coming here, this is a what kind of a verb? What does that say? Tell us. Right, that it's a reflexive verb. So if we're conjugating it from the infinitive, we can't lose the se. If we're taking it from a conjugation back to the infinitive, again, we can't lose the se. It has to go somewhere. Bueno? So we end up at acercarse. Now, turn to your partner and take it to the present tense. He or she approaches. Okay, class A, what's he or she approaches? Se acerca. And class A, I know I have said this so many times this year already, but truly, truly, if you have not memorized the present tense endings, at this point, that is 100% on you. Okay, and you need to memorize them. There is no magical way that I can shove 10 endings into your head. That's it. It's 10 endings. Like, you are perfectly capable of it, and we're only going to add more. All right? So if you haven't learned them yet, you really need to commit to that. And it's really simple to do that during Sweet Foundations, because I know if you're like my class, right, you are always just sitting there like, I don't have anything to do in Sweet Foundations. But really, you do. You could always go on conjuguemos, and you could always do the present tense verbs. Right, class A? Sí. So if you find yourself in Sweet Foundations not doing anything, if you're weak in the present tense, go to the present tense. If you're like, no, I'm good on the present tense, go to the preterite tense. Okay, there are preterite tense on there too, so you can get good practice. So at this point, we're not going to write the present tense charts down on the back of your paper, okay, for most of them. So that being said, don't let it fall out of your head, okay? So that brings us to the preterite tense of se acercó. That's he or she approached. Now we're going to do a chart for that one because that is new. So this is acercarse in the preterite tense. And take a second with your partner to fill out that chart.
Say.
Yeah.
Okay, what's I approach? What comes first? May,
Oh.
right? Because it's a reflexive, so remember that say can't just get lost. We have to do something with it. So may, and then what's my conjugation here? Okay, so hopefully you notice, okay, I'm not going to finish that out yet, but hopefully you notice that if you have it written like this, how do you say that? Me hacer se. How did we say this? Acercarse. Okay, now we're going to need, because again, remember our goal is to always maintain that original sound from the infinitive, right? So what do you think we're going to have to do to this?
Okay.
We're going to make it K, so we're going to make a spell change. And we're going to do that by changing out the C with a QU.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to move my line over a little bit. So me hacer K. And that is what's going to let us keep the K sound. So this is what we call a car. So we have three things in the preterite tense. We have car, gar, and zar. Okay, our car, gar, zars will need a spell change in the yo form just to maintain that original K sound. Bueno? So how would we say you approached? Do we need a spell change here? No, because that A doesn't make that problem for us. So te acercaste. How about he or she approached? Se acercó. Again, that O doesn't make a spell change for the C. It's fine. So se acercó. How about we approached? Nos acercamos. And how about they approached?
Se acercaron.
Good. Se acercaron. So in that, we're seeing our AR preterite tense endings, right? So what are the endings? For the yo, it's what? A. For two, he or she. We. And they. Bueno, hace, o, almostaron. Okay, that's going to be the next chart that you need to shove into your head. Bueno? Okay, questions on that one? Alrighty, on to the next one. Here she saw that there was. Todos repitan, vio que había. Bueno, what part of that is she saw? Vio. What's that? Good. And how about there was? Había. Okay, there was or there were. It could be there were as well. Okay. So we technically have two verbs in here. What's the first verb? Vio, which comes from? There. And then technically había comes from the verb haber. We're not going to write that down because, bueno, you don't really think of it that way. So let's take it to the present tense, though. How do we say here? She sees. They. Okay. How would we say she sees that there is or there are? What was it? I. Ve que hay. So I is there is or there are in the present tense. Había is there was or there were. Bueno? And that's really all we're going to talk about that right now. See, like you don't really need to think through that any more than that. But there, class A, I am going to have us write 2 charts for this one because this one always trips people up in the present tense for whatever reason. So let's do a chart here of there in the present tense. What does I see? Veo. What's you see?
Vase.
Good. Here she sees.
Yes.
We see.
Veneno.
Vemos, just vemos. And how about they see? Ven. So veo, ves, ve, vemos, ven. Not to be confused with voy, vas, va, vamos, van. Right? Because what's voy, vas, va, vamos, van? Go. Right? But this one is he or she sees. So are they similar in appearance? Yeah, but meaning, no, not at all. Okay, so that's the present tense. Now we learned the chart for this guy in the preterite tense, but remember it's an irregular verb. So let's do that one on the back. So this is ver in the preterite tense. Anybody remember what I saw was? V. Wes, do you have a question? Okay. Are we going to see any accents on this chart?
No.
Why not?
It's irregular.
All right, and irregular preterites don't get accents. So we've got V. How about you saw? Good. Viste. He or she saw. We saw. Vimos. Good. And how about they saw? Good. Vieron. So vi, viste, vio, vimos, vieron. And that's your irregular chart there. Questions on that one? Okay, bueno, let's keep going. Doing okay? See? All right. He or she carried it away with him or her. Bueno, so we've got se lo llevó. Todos repiten. Se lo llevó. Okay, what's he or she carried? Llevó. Okay, and again, if you need to write that down because it confuses you, write it down. So this is the carried. What's it? Lo or la, depending on what it is, right? If that thing is masculine or feminine, that's when we're going to choose lo or la. And then what's the with him? Say. So se lo llevó. All right, what's my actual verb in here? Llevó. Now this is actually a reflexive verb, okay, because of the se at the wave front. Okay, so our infinitive is what? Good, llevarse. So llevarse means to carry it away with him or herself. What if I take the se away? Now it's just to carry. Okay, then it just takes away the with him or with her. Bueno? So turn to your partner and tell him, how would you say he or she carries it away? Okay, so remember, when we're conjugating a reflexive verb, what's the first thing we worry about? The say. What do we do with it? Right. Is it going to change this time? Like forms? No, because it's still who? He or she. So it's still going to be say. Okay, so he or she carried, what's the it? Lo or la. So that's still going to be here just because that's what our phrase is. And what's the conjugation then of llevar? Because that's what we're left with. Lleva. Se lo lleva. Questions on that? Okay, let's flip our papers over and we're going to do the preterite chart for llevarse. So llevarse in the preterite, I want you to fill that chart out with your partner.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it.
No.
All right, what's I carried it away with me? Good, me llevé. How about you carried? Good. He or she carried? Say what? Llevo. We carried? Good. Nos llevamos. And how about they carried? Good. Se llevaron. So again, in that, what are our endings? For the yo, it's tú. Exactamente. Aste o amos aron. Bueno. And again, when I was learning my charts, I would just repeat that chart over and over and over and over again to myself. Okay. I think that's easier to just say 5 endings all in a row than to try to memorize them like individually, for me at least. But bueno, questions on that guy? All right. Then the next one, before returning, repitan antes de regresar. Bueno, why clase? So antes de means what? Before. Remind me, what is after? Después de. If you do not know that, you should definitely write that into your extras. Okay, después de means after. We use those phrases a lot, if you haven't noticed that. So commit those to memories. And it's actually easy to remember which one's which because antes has an A, and A comes before D, right? So we know that's before. We know? So antes de is before, después de is after. But in this one, it's before returning. So what's the word for returning? Right, regresar. So right here, it's returning. Notice it's not conjugated. Bueno, why is it not conjugated?
Because there's no.
Yeah, there's no subject, right? And so we're not going to conjugate it. But the verb regresar, you can take it out of this phrase and you can use it, okay? And it would just mean return. And you can use the verb regresar for people, like Michael returns to school. Or you can use it as, I returned my book to the library. Okay, you can use it in either context. So if you are conjugating it, the verb is regresar, and it's a regular AR verb in all of the tenses. Okay, so you just conjugate it like normal. Bueno, we are not going to fill it out on our paper because that wouldn't make sense for the phrase. Bueno, but do know you can pull this out and use it in context. Yeah.
Why isn't it regresando?
Because when we have antes de or después de, we're just going to follow it with an infinitive to keep it as a short explanation. Bueno. But yes, you are right. If you wanted it to be like, I am returning to school, then you would say, estoy regresando a la escuela. But that's more of the progressive tense. And this isn't really technically the progressive. Bueno? Is that good enough explanation for now? Okay. Then he or she grabbed, it's the final word, clase, is agarró. Todos repiten, agarró. Now, if you can roll your R's here, you should. Why? Right, because it's a double R, and double R's want us to roll it. Okay? So, todos repiten, agarró. Bueno, now if you can't roll your R's, even though everybody can actually roll their R's, you just have to learn. Bueno. If you can't roll, you're not going to be a pirate. Okay? You're going to make it a dental kind of a sound. So, it's going to be agarró. Okay? But if you can roll, you should roll. Bueno, agarró here. Now, what's the verb? What's to grab? What was it? This one's a little trickier to say. I think you're saying it. Okay, todos repiten, agarrar. Agarrar. Now to stop yourself from like saying this part as a pirate R, because that's typically in this word where it comes out, you have to aspirate the last R, which just means what? Yeah, breathe into it. Okay? So when you say it the next time, I really want you to focus on when you go agarrar. Bueno. Now it's obviously not like a big, that's not really what we do. But if you actually listen, agarrar, can you hear the little breath that's at the end of it? Agarrar. See? It's just the slightest little puff that comes through. So everybody say agarrar. 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 My puff, when I pay attention, my puff comes like out under my tongue. Agarrar. See? Everybody try it. Agarrar. Agarrar. We're going to work on that, but don't be pirates. Okay, class A? See, so agarrar. Now, how do we say he or she grabs? Agarra. Again, work on that pronunciation. So todos repiten agarra. Agarra. Bueno. Regular verb in the present tense. So agarro, agarras, agarra, agarramos, agarran. Bueno. Preterite, we've got agarro. It's a regular verb here as well. So we're going to do a chart on the back. We'll do it here. So agarrar in the preterite tense. Take a second to fill that out. All right, what's I grabbed? What was it? Agarré. How about you grabbed? Agarraste. He or she grabbed? Good. Agarró. We grabbed? Agarramos. And they grabbed? Yeah. Agarraron. Bueno, it does take practice, but it's a good word. So class A, again, remind me, what are my AR verb endings? A. Exactamente. Exactamente. Bueno, so again, commit that chart as soon as you can to memory because it will help you out. Bueno. Now we've just got any questions over the main vocab. Okay, couple extra words. The first one is while. Repiten mientras. So while I was teaching, Thomas was sleeping.
As usual.
Bueno, she. So that's like the kind of while. We use this word quite a bit. The next one I don't think is super new. A little is un poquito. And we know this is like a teeny tiny amount. How do we know that?
Ito.
The ito ending, because what's just like a little? Un poco.
Un poco loco.
Exactamente. Bueno, so when we add this ito ending, that's what we call diminutive, and that makes it smaller. Bueno, and then I guess we added después because some of you are missing that word. Questions? All right, clase, hasta mañana. Ten un buen día.
How do you say tiny donkey in Spanish?
A tiny donkey?
Yes.
A burrito. Es la verdad.
What? No. Oh, we start now.
Okay, for those of you who are digital, for he or she approached, I'm going to quick go through your actions. So for he or she approached, everyone is going to take a step close to their partner, like they're approaching each other. Okay. For he or she saw that there was, we're going to keep it really easy. We're going to do the same action that we did in Unit 1. It's just going to be vio que había. We're going to say it again, no. Okay, so vio que había. He or she carried it away with him or her. We're going to take something and put it over our shoulder, and then we're going to go away like it's really heavy. Okay, so let's say lo llevo. antes de regresar, before returning. Because el verano pasado, we went el verano pasado, like it was in the past. This time we're going in the future, so it's going to be before returning. Okay, so before returning. And then here she grabbed, agarró. It's really easy. We're just going to fake grab something from somebody. All right, so then I will post a picture of the charts and of the filled out vocab charts that you can fill that out. And I will give you a paper copy when you get back, but feel free to print out the one that I already gave you. All right, if you have questions, let me know.